What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for August 28th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the podcast. Happy hump day to everyone out there. Struggling this morning, having some technical difficulties, but we'll get through it in the process of looking at ways to upgrade the production and just tighten things up here. I don't know, because of my rants I like to go on, especially when our teams lose, if I'll ever make it mainstream, but I'm going to put myself in the best position to be successful. So bear with me as we have some technical challenges over the next few months. And it could just be me. Everything could be fine on your end. But this is the fourth time I've had to start over and take it. So we'll see how it turns out. But I do have a big announcement today. I've been mentioning over the past couple weeks that the second anniversary of this day in Philly sports history is coming up. September 8th is the day. And I've decided to have a little bit of fun heading into year 3. So starting this Sunday, we're going to have fun with the number 2. We're going to talk about number 2s in Philly sports, second all-time leaders, assistant coaches, the number 2 guy in charge, 2 guards, second round picks, playoff game 2s, all kinds of stuff involving the number 2. So stay tuned for that starting on Sunday. Also starting on Sunday, I'm going to give you a chance to win a shirt from Philly Goat. Any t-shirt you want. All you have to do is between September 1st and September 8th, call or text the Back to the Future voice and text line, leave a message, send a text message, and be subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you do those 2 things, you'll be entered into a random drawing for a Philly Goat shirt of your choice. So anytime starting midnight, September 1st till 11:59 on... Actually, we'll do it 11:59 on September 8th. We'll do it through the entire week of the anniversary celebration, and I will randomly draw the name Monday, September 9th, and get you your t-shirt. And who knows, if we have enough people participate, maybe I'll go 2 shirts. You never know. Maybe I'll do 2 for the second anniversary. But be sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and then starting midnight on September 1st, anytime you call or text the Back to the Future voice and text line, you'll be entered into a random drawing for a Philly Goat t-shirt. Very excited. It's just my way of saying thank you to the loyal listeners out there. I can't believe it's been 2 years. I've missed more days of my day job than I've missed of the podcast, which we have not missed a day since September 8th, 2022. I am proud of that fact. Over here grinding, but good things are on the horizon, and I'm looking forward to year 3. But be sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. You need to call or text the Back to the Future voice and text line at 267-495-8531 from September 1st to September 8th, and be subscribed to the YouTube channel to be eligible for the drawing. The YouTube channel is at Jimbo_Mont. Why don't you go over there now, subscribe, and then be done with it, so that way you don't have to worry about it, and then you just call and vent or cheer or whatever you want to do to the voice and text line. Follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont, Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at PhillyJimbo. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that stuff. But spread the word too. Let people know if you're looking for a free t-shirt from Philly Goat. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel and call. And in the meantime, the added bonus is you'll get all of this great content absolutely free. I feel like an infomercial. And if you call now, you'll get the podcast absolutely free. But want to have some fun, say thank you as we enter year 2. Some interesting things that, like I said, I'm working on for the number 2. And then I really am working on improving some of the production and tighten some things up. I have a lot of good ideas for year 3. So just kind of working behind the scenes. So stay tuned for that. But again, thank you for almost 2 years worth of loyal listening. And be sure to get that subscription into the YouTube channel. That way you can be eligible for the drawing for the Philly Goat t-shirt. And it will be of your choice. So whatever you want, let me know. T-shirts, not hoodies, hats, and all of that other stuff. I'm not made of money. I'm still doing this for free and have to work a day job. But I will throw you a t-shirt to say thank you for being a loyal listener. All right. Another good win for the Phillies last night. I'm still not ready to say they're 100% back, especially with a 4-game series with the Braves on the horizon. But by Sunday, I would be ready to say they are back if everything goes well the rest of the week. Nola was just absolutely outstanding. He was his normal playoff Nola self. So if that's the Nola we're going to get down the stretch, I'm excited. 5-0 win, and a couple interesting stats I thought. It was their 13th shutout of the season, tied with the Mariners, and I believe it was the Braves. It was either the Braves or the Yankees for most in the league this year. And they are 30-1 when their starters go more than 7 or more innings, which I think makes sense. And if you think about how good they were doing early in the season, it was because the starters were going deep into games. And that one loss was early in the season. It was like the first time of the streak. So they won 30 in a row where the starters go 7+ innings. So good win for the Phils. Castellanos hit the homer. And gotta love his post-game interview last night where he said he goes up there like it's glorified batting practice, just trying to hit the ball hard. He did mention he does like hitting higher up in the lineup because he feels he sees better pitches. But I think we sometimes, because he swings at the first pitch and because sometimes he can be streaky, Castellanos is a gem. He just goes out there, and what he says and some of the stuff he says in interviews is just hilarious. I think sometimes we overlook him from that aspect, but it was pretty funny if you want to go see. He was like, it's glorified batting practice. I just go out there and try to hit the ball. I don't go up there looking to walk. Which, to hear him say that, yeah, we get it. We know, Nick. But like I said, I kind of like it, and this team is fun. That's the key so far in this turnaround. They're actually fun to watch again. I saw before the game started, they were out on the field choosing their fantasy draft position closest to the pin, which is a good idea. And I'm probably going to include a little bit of a fantasy football segment once football season starts. But as someone who plays in 3 leagues, 2 for money, 1 to not wear a dress playing golf, I like this idea of picking the fantasy draft order, doing something physical. I've seen people do all kinds of crazy relay races, a 40-yard dash. Closest to the pin is a good one. I feel like that's more fun than just picking a random name out of a hat. Of course, I play with guys that are all over, so sometimes it's hard to get everyone in the same position. But like that they're having fun. And again, I'm this close to saying they're back. I want to see how the next 5 games go before I officially say they're back heading into September. Taijuan Walker on the mound today. Likely it's a day game, so we'll probably see Garrett Stubbs, which, I don't know, ever since we've started believing it, we've started to achieve it. So if you missed last week's episode where we did we envisioned Garrett Stubbs doing the World Series championship parade speech on the Art Museum steps with the Budweiser box on his head, doing a Jason Kelsey-like rant. Ever since we've envisioned that, the Phillies have been red hot. So let's keep it. Hey, if we believe it, we can achieve it. So maybe Taijuan goes out there and actually has himself a day. Garrett Stubbs picks up where he left off on Sunday. Hey, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. But we'll see. Jose Alvarado, by the way, is expected to be back this year. He's on the restricted list due to personal issues. No word on what that is. A lot of people are speculating. I'm not going to get into that game, but wish him the best and a speedy resolution to whatever is going on. Braves did win, so the lead in the division is still 6. Dodgers and Brewers both lost, so the Phils are up 3 games now on the Brewers and tied with the Dodgers, which if the season ended today, because we won the series versus the Dodgers, Phillies would be the number 1 seed. So again, I'm not quite there yet to say they're back, but it is on the tip of my tongue. Be sure, though, to go and check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences, recording a baseball episode with them tonight. Looking forward to it. They're doing some good things over there. once it's up and posted, which likely will be Friday. You can check me out there, but that's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And we mentioned the Philly Goat t-shirt giveaway. Go, don't want to wait, go, or you want more than one, go to phillygoat.com now. Do some back-to-school shopping. Get ready for Eagle season. They have the Let's Go Phils shirt. I won't give it away. Just go check it out. It's hilarious. But go check them out. Then use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. The Union are in action tonight against Columbus, resuming their MLS schedule. Columbus is currently sitting in the 3rd seed in the East. The Union are in the 10th, so they're 1 point behind Atlanta for the wild card spot and 7 points out of the non-wild card spot with 9 games left. So it's basically crunch time for the Union, and hopefully they can pick up and keep that momentum rolling that they got during the Leagues Cup as they try to sort of – there's going to be a lot of big changes for this team next year, so hopefully they can just get it done and have these guys go out on a high note. But that's tonight, 7:30 down at Subaru Park. Eagles made their cut downs. No real surprises, to be honest. Bradbury did make the team, but I really don't think that is a surprise to anyone. I don't know if Howie is still scouring the waiver wire or not. That remains to be seen. Anaya Smith and Albert O were placed on the injured list, which means they only have 2 tight ends on the roster. I don't know what the plan is, whether Howie's going to scour the waiver wire. Sidney Brown is on the PUP list, which we knew was going to happen. So he's out at least 4 weeks. But that, I think, will give you sort of 4 weeks to see what Bradbury and everybody can do in that safety role. And then you can make the decision in 4 weeks. Practice squad, filling out the practice squad starts on Friday. But Howie's, I'm sure he's working. He's working hard to try to see what's out there. Offensive line still might be a concern. We'll talk about that tomorrow on our 20 questions. But no real surprises. Howie, I'm sure, is seeing who's out there. I guess what the NFL does is gives them a day or two to sort of see who got cut, and then they can start building their practice squads on Friday. So we'll keep you updated as things develop with the roster. All right, I did have a chance to look over somewhat. I didn't read all 300-plus pages, but the Sixers Arena study that was released yesterday, they did say it would bring $1 billion in revenue to the area, resulting in like $390 million in taxes. Less than what the team said. Who knows what's going to happen with that? I mean, again, that's projections. But that's a pretty good sort of, especially since the team is going to be fronting the bill on building the arena, having that tax revenue for the city, who always has issues with money, is a good thing. And I mean, for something that they don't have to pay for, and I said it yesterday, and it's a shame, but that area down there is an absolute shithole. It's just a big empty space, and there's so much that could be done where they want to put the stadium. So that's a positive. There would be no housing displacement, so nobody's going to lose their home. A lot of folks are worried about gentrification and a loss of the culture identity. And that, especially in larger urban areas, that's always an issue as people move in. What happens to the people that live there? What happens to the identity of the neighborhood? Especially in Philly, because Philly is such a neighborhood and culture identity-driven city. But I think a lot of that is still to be determined. I don't think it would be a bad idea to maybe incorporate some of the Chinatown culture into whatever businesses and things that into the arena. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea to embrace that and celebrate that, especially if that's a major concern of what could happen. That might alleviate some of the concerns, and I think it'd be a cool, great way to just celebrate inclusion and get people sort of understanding and knowing you're in Chinatown. What does that mean here in Philadelphia? Parking and mass transit is going to be, I think this ends up being the sticking point for this. They're expecting 40% of people to take mass transit. I don't know what the numbers are for Eagles games, but for the most part, people drive down together. They said there'll be enough parking. It's just more of the traffic, and the traffic with the Eagles is just absolutely ridiculous. So they do need to manage that better, but we'll see. And they did say that I guess the final results of the study were that it's an appropriate project, assuming it's done well. The team's doing it versus the city, so that gives me somewhat more hope. However, anytime the city is involved, as someone who lived in the city for almost 20 years, sometimes the city of Philadelphia gets in its own way sometimes, if I'm being fair here. There will be other events like concerts and I'm sure the circus and Disney, on all the things that you typically would see at the Wells Fargo Center. I'm sure they'd be able to bring over to the new arena. And then Mark Squilla, who is the city council rep for that area, also said it's a viable project, but more work needs to be done specifically with the gentrification and loss of culture identity, which I do believe is a big, important thing. But I think it's an opportunity here for the Sixers and the city to really, maybe not revive isn't the right word, but get the word out there and really celebrate the culture identity of Chinatown, and really, like, I don't know, to me it's important to celebrate everybody. So get those people to that are the Chinatown sort of neighborhood development, get them involved in the planning. Like, how can we celebrate Chinese culture? How can we make sure that putting a stadium here is not going to take away any of your culture identity? And I know the neighborhood civic associations are big in the city because I served on the Roxborough one. And get the people on the Chinatown development, whatever their official name is, but get them involved and get the people that really are invested in this area, give them a seat at the table. I think that's the only way. And I mean, obviously, as you can see, I'm a fan of the stadium being down there. But it is, I don't know. I do think those people need to have a say. Like, get whatever and I keep saying those people, and I don't mean those people in Chinatown. I mean the people on whatever the Chinatown Development Committee is, or whatever. Have them. Like, I was very involved we did a dog park in Roxborough. We kind of fought and tried to stop the Wendy's from going in Roxborough. So those people have a lot of power, but you need them and want them on your side. So give them a seat at the table. And I think that will go a long way. Hear those concerns and address those concerns. More importantly, just don't listen, address those concerns. But I think it's a great opportunity to embrace the culture identity of Chinatown with this new arena. That I think it's a great opportunity. I just hope the Sixers and the city don't fumble this away, because a lot could be gained and you could bridge some gaps and bring people together. So I think by bringing the Chinatown neighborhood, and again, I keep just saying it, I don't know what the actual name of the organization is, but by bringing them, maybe they can come up with some solutions. Like, if this is where this arena is going to go, these are the people that know the area, so let them help. Like, give them a seat at the table. And I think a lot of times people don't do it. I think the traffic is always going to be the issue. They need to encourage the use of mass transit, so I don't know if that is like for the Eagles games, but Miller Lite sponsors free rides on game day, so maybe it's something like that. I don't know. I mean, I think there is a way to do it. I think the fact that it is deemed a viable option is huge. The fact that Mark Squilla, who is the city councilman, who sort of probably has the key to all of this, isn't saying no way. I think it was a huge step. And I mean, knowing the way that governments work, it's specifically in Philadelphia, having lived there for so long, doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean it's moving forward. Doesn't mean it's that. However, I do think it was a good first step. I was expecting them to say there's no viability to it. So the fact that it's viable, I think, is half the battle. Now, bring the folks in Chinatown to the table and work through some of the differences. And I don't know. And again, I'm a fan of it. I would totally take the train down, take the kids, and I would be more inclined to go to Sixers games being able to take the train than I would be driving. And I know there's some people in the suburbs like me that would not. But for me, I would love to take the train right into Market East and be good to go. But again, there's a lot of the details still need to be figured out. So that's sort of my take on the arena. If anything, if people are listening to me that are involved in this, get the people in Chinatown at the table. Give them a seat at the table. How can we celebrate the Chinatown culture? And that I think that should go a long way. Hear what they have to say. Listen to their concerns. But let me know what you think. Maybe I'm completely out of whack. Maybe you think it still should be down in South Philly. 267-495-8531. Get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. All right, let's go back to 1971 today. And on this day in 1971, Philly split a doubleheader with the Giants. They lost Game 1 5-2, which was a rain makeup game, and then won Game 2 7-2. Rick Wise pitched a complete game, 8-hitter with 11 strikeouts that day, but went 2 for 3 at the plate with 5 RBI and 2 home runs. That was the second time that season that Rick Wise hit 2 home runs in a game. The first time, as you know, we talked about it a couple months ago, he had a no-hitter, and then he came back and hit 2 home runs in a game again. It's happened quite a few times over the years. We talked about Robert Person. We talked about Randy Wolf. But it's one of those things that probably isn't likely to happen again anytime soon, with the exception of Ohtani, for a pitcher to hit 2 home runs in a game. Byron Brown, remember him? I don't either. But he also homered in this game. But back to Rick Wise. Rick Wise had a great 1971 season. Went 17-14 with a 2.88 ERA, 17 complete games, 4 shutouts, 155 strikeouts, was an all-star. We talked about the no-hitter. Hit 2 home runs in a game twice. One of them during those no-hitter. And here's what's crazy. At the plate, he hit .237 with 6 home runs and 15 RBI and 97 at-bats. If you would have told me that that's the kind of production you get from a pinch hitter, I'd gladly take it. But this dude was going out there and not allowing runs and pitching complete games too. So he did parlay that 1971 season into being the other guy in the most lopsided trade in Phillies team's history. And honestly, that's saying something, because the Phillies have made a lot of bad trades over the course of their history. But Rick Wise, again, was the other guy that was traded for the Phillies to acquire Steve Carlton. Worked out fairly well for the Phillies and Steve Carlton, I would say. But this possibly could be the most lopsided trade in Major League Baseball history. But on this day in 1971, Rick Wise pitched a complete game, hit 2 home runs for the second time this season, doing so again in June when he hit 2 home runs and pitched a no-hitter in the same game. All right, finally today, our 20 questions in 20 days about the Eagles. We are slowly wrapping this thing up. Yesterday, I asked you over under 15.5, how many touches should the Saquon Barkley need for the Eagles to be successful this year? 65% of you went over, and I'm right on that line. I think 15 to 18 is good, so I won't argue with that. I think there's a lot of weapons. I think 15 touches a game is a good number for him. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There will be another show or another question later in the show. Today, it's all about Vic Fangio, though. And with Vic Fangio, I think his record speaks for himself. He has a good history, a long history in the NFL as a defensive coordinator, as well as a head coach. The defense last year also speaks for itself. They were terrible, absolutely terrible. it's going to be hard to be as bad as they were last year. And I say that hesitantly because a lot of times when I say that, I'm like, oh, it can't get any worse, can it? It gets worse. But Vic Fangio actually comes in, though. He's that old school guy and rubbed a lot of the guys in Miami the wrong way, which to me, and maybe this is me showing my age, I think they were just soft. It's like, come on, guys, toughen up. Like, no, it's not going to be rainbows and unicorns. Like, if you're not doing your job, you're not doing your job. Like, if you don't want to get yelled at, do your job. Simple as that. But so far, the consensus in camp is that the Eagles players actually like it. They're happy about it, and they appreciate it. So you can tell who kind of grew up with either old school parents or old school coaches versus who didn't. Because, I mean, I've worked with people and work with to this day that when people tell you you're not doing something right, they get all bent out of shape. No, you're not doing it right. Like, just do it. And I think that's going to be a big piece and a big key to this Eagles defense this year. It might be a slow start, though. It might be a slow start as Vic is trying to figure out how guys on this team fit into his system. I do think he will make a difference. And it's all going to come down and everything this season on defense. And we talked about it with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Bryce Huff. It's going to come down to whether or not he can get those guys in the right position for the pass rush to be successful. The success or failure of this defense comes down to the pass rush. It was a strength in the past couple years. Now it's still to be determined. I mean, there's a lot of unknown and unproven guys there. I'm confident that Fangio will figure it out. I'm not as confident that the players are the right players for the system. We talked about that, like, if Jordan Davis does this, then so much is dependent upon those guys having good seasons. And I think Fangio is going to put them into position to be successful. We're just going to see. I mean, I think this puts the spotlight on Howie Roseman completely because these were his guys he drafted. So Fangio, I believe, will put those guys in a position to be successful. Whether or not they are, that's an indictment on Howie Roseman then. But what do you think? Will the defense be better under Vic Fangio this year? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let me know that. Want to vent about the Phillies. That's all fair game. But 267-495-8531 will get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let me know your thoughts, too, on the Sixers arena. Am I oversimplifying it? And is the government in the city of Philadelphia? It seems pretty cut and dry to me, but if you've ever experienced the city government, you know nothing is as it seems. Union in action tonight. We'll continue to track the Eagles as they look to tweak the roster now that everybody has been cut. Phil's looking for the sweep against the Astros with Taijuan Walker on the mound. If you believe it, you can achieve it. Think positive thoughts. Stubbs probably will be catching today. Maybe that will rub off on Taijuan, who basically is pitching for his Phillies career at this point. I mean, there's no other way to say. He comes out and gets bombed today. There's no way anybody in that organization can justify putting him back out there for another start. So it's kind of a do or die. Hopefully he rises to the occasion. And then we got that big 4-game series coming up against the Braves. I'm this close to saying we're back. But hopefully tomorrow we're celebrating a sweep. Remember, starting Sunday, we're going to have some fun for the second anniversary. Subscribe to the YouTube channel now so you don't have to. We're giving away a Philly Goat t-shirt as long as you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and interact with the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let's have some fun. Let's continue to grow it. Got to get the production tightened up, but that's okay. We'll get there. Go have yourselves a Wednesday. Happy hump day, everybody. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 28th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.